Hi, friends. Welcome to episode 317 of School Librarians United. I am your host, Amy Herman. This podcast is dedicated to the issues and challenges school librarians face every day. As a school librarian in my 18th year, I knew I wanted a podcast which addressed the nuts and bolts of running a successful library program. I don't claim to have the answers, but I hope that this is a platform to share resources and exchange ideas. Now is a perfect time to mention that all the ideas and opinions expressed in this podcast by myself, my interview guests, and listeners who reach out to the podcast are our own and do not reflect those of our school districts. When incorporating research, I always make sure to cite my sources. So whether you are a novice or a veteran school librarian, this podcast has something for you. I welcome you and all listeners to reach out with your feedback and episode suggestions. You can reach me on Blue Sky at SLU Podcast or on X, formerly known as Twitter. My handle is at LMS_United. On Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, you can find me at School Librarians United and the email address schoollibrariansunited@gmail.com. If you include your mailing address, I'll be sure to send you a podcast sticker. And now for today's episode, Becoming an Administrator, and my conversation with Blake Hopper. Hopper, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me on again. Excited to be back here.
We are in for a treat. Listeners, we first met Blake 4 years ago in March 2021. We recorded episode 117 with fellow school librarian Vicki Winstead. The topic of our conversation, ironically, was teaming up with your administration. Blake, was this you showing your true colors?
Oh, maybe a little bit. I've always loved leadership and not to be a boss. I'm not a boss. I'm a leader and I get to help people find their way. I felt like as librarians we're leaders anyways. So I had my degree in it. So I kind of knew and kind of realized how you can work with your administrators. So that's kind of how that came about.
Well, and I remember because I follow you on Facebook and you posted the exciting news. I know it wasn't news to you or your immediate family, but it was news to your school librarian friends who are so accustomed to seeing you as the school librarian. But you shared this news like last summer, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. So I'm finishing out year number 2. Actually, it's immediate family. My parents knew. And that's it. My wife's family didn't know. No one knew that I had applied for this job because it just was there at the time, and I just wanted to see what happened. And I didn't want to have to tell a lot of people I didn't get the job because I didn't think I'd get the job, and here I am.
Well, and I understand you don't want to jinx your good luck, but I have to imagine, and we're going to talk about this some more. But as a school librarian, with all of the experience you've had in education, you were an excellent candidate.
I felt like that. I felt like that I would be a good candidate, but I just didn't know. I've been in primary school for the last 5 years. This is a middle school. I didn't go to school here. It was just kind of out of my comfort zone. I knew people there. I knew the principal. I was not friends with her or anything, but I knew her. I felt like it was a good opportunity. I wasn't going to do it. And then one day before applications were due, my wife was like, "You should do it. Just do it." And I was like, "Okay." So I did it.
Well, and you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Thank you very much. So let's go ahead. Do introduce yourself. Tell us where you work and a little bit about your school and your job title.
Okay. Like she said, I'm Blake Hopper. I was a school librarian for 10 years. This is my 12th year in education. Actually, I lied. I was a school librarian. I was a classroom teacher before that. So I was a school librarian for 9 years. And then I was a classroom teacher for a year and been in administration now going on 2 years. I love education. I love books. When I came into this, I decided to change my handle to the lit principal because I think literacy is in everything we do. So I'm still in that. I am an assistant principal, like she said, at a middle school, HY Livesey Middle School. It's spelled Livesay, and everyone always wonders how to say it. So it's Livesey, not Livesay. We have about 280 5th through 8th graders. We're in the city of Harrogate. My school is actually right across the road from Lincoln Memorial University. I don't know if you all have ever heard of that. We're just right across the road. My wife teaches at Ellen Myers Primary, which is across the road from LMU, and it feeds to my school. So she has the babies, and then when they come to me, I already know them and I know stories about them. And then they're always like, "How do you know that?" Well, remember, Miss Kayla was your teacher. So I think I've always wanted to go into education. I played school, I did all the things. So I really feel like this was really like the Lord's plan, and my calling for it was to be in education in some form or fashion.
I love it. So it's sort of a natural progression for you.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I started out in the classroom. I loved the classroom. I don't know that I've ever shared this with many people, but when the librarian retired at the school I was at, she was the only librarian that that school had ever had, and I was working on my degree in it. So they went ahead and let me have the job. I hated it. I was like, what did I do to myself? Why did I take this job? By fall break, I was like, why did I do this? And I had helped her. I'd worked in the library, and I'd interned in the library in high school, so I was familiar with it. But it was a big step because I saw 400 kids versus my 20 kids, and having my own little spot. And I was in the middle of the school, an open concept library. Everyone could always hear me. Everyone could always see me. And I was like, what did I do? But then I ended up falling in love with it. I joined the Tennessee Association of School Librarians. I owe a lot of my career to them. They really helped me become the librarian that I was. All my friends there that I met. I mean, I've met people all over the country. I met you. I would have never traveled and met all these people as if I hadn't have joined my association and really upped my game and wanted to be the librarian that I wanted to be for my students, because I wanted them to have the opportunities that all the other kids have around the country or the world even. I owe a lot to that, and how it got me to where I am today.
That's amazing. So, when did the idea of transitioning to administration plant itself in your psyche? All of my previous guests on the podcast have agreed that being a school librarian is the best job ever.
I agree.
And it is the best job ever. So, what really sort of made it apparent to you that pursuing a leadership degree would be something that you would eventually decide to utilize?
So of course, I got my bachelor's in K6. I got my master's in school library technology, and then I wanted to get my EDS, so I got it in administration. So all my degrees allowed me to do something different. And I agree with you. Being a librarian, a school librarian, was the best job. I loved being a school librarian. I loved being in charge of the space and helping to mold kids and connect kids with books and do makerspace and connect them with literacy and help them have opportunities they might not have anymore, take them to places, author visits, and all that. I absolutely loved it. So I still love the school library. I still love going by there and seeing our school librarian, who actually got to hire this year. It was awesome. So I love seeing her. She's brand new out of the classroom. I love seeing all the things that she's doing. I'll always be a supporter of school librarians. My district knows that. My principal knows that. I'll always advocate for school librarians and libraries. But this position just kind of opened up. I was driving 30 minutes from my home. This allowed me to be 12 minutes from my home. It allowed me to be at the same school, as I said, that my wife, she's the feeder to my school. We had just had a baby at the time, so babysitter situation. Like I said, being a librarian, I feel like school librarians are natural leaders for the most part. So being a school librarian really prepares you to be a leader. And I felt like that this would be a good chance and opportunity at the school. The school is one of the best. That school is always a level 5 or an A school or a reward school. So it was just a great opportunity at the time. And I knew that I would still always support and advocate for school libraries and librarians. And I feel like I still do that.
I love it. So it might not surprise the Tennessee school librarians who know you well. But I was really surprised when I arrived to present last September at the Tennessee Association of School Librarians annual conference to find you there setting up along with the conference planning committee. And friends, I had worked that day, caught a flight out of Detroit, I think at like 5:45 at night. So I didn't get in till close to 9 by the time I had been driven in from the airport. And there you were at 9:00 at night with the conference planning committee getting things set up. I was like, what are you doing here? And I'm thinking in my head, this is the guy. You went to administration, but you're at a school librarian conference now.
So there actually were other administrators there, and I knew that there would be a few other administrators there. So it gave me an opportunity to connect with some of them and other district leaders. When I transitioned out, I'm still involved with Tassel, kind of like as an administrative representative or so forth. So when discovered when I started this journey that kind of transitioned to an admin person, and was a different perspective on these different boards and stuff. So, of course, I took personal days to do that because it's not in my purview. It's not my job or whatever anymore. So I took some personal days, and it's kind of like I just took the two at the end of the week, and it's kind of like a reunion for me because that gave me an opportunity to go visit with my friends that I had made and connected with over the years. If not, I might not have a chance to see them for a long time. So I just called it a family reunion. Basically, is what I told my principal it was going to be. So, and of course, I mean, it was personal day. She didn't care, and so I drove in early because a lot of those friends are still leaders in Tassel, so I just helped them set up and do the things, and we enjoyed getting to go out and eat and meet authors, getting to talk to you again. So I think that as long as I have the time and um, I think I'll attend and help and do whatever they need me to do and stay on as like an admin rep for them. Because like I said, they're more than just they're my friends now. So it's like a friend union, I guess.
So I'm wondering, does Tassel extend what we call it free registration for administrators? So can a school librarian bring a +1 without paying a second registration fee?
Yes. Yes, so they do that, and if, I'm the past president, so that's another thing too I should have brought up. Where I'm a past president of the Tennessee Association of School Librarians, they always honor us on that Friday. So I mean, we all tried to go so we can reconnect and talk then. So that was another perk of getting to go was meeting with all the past presidents, and of course we do encourage admin to come. I think there were 2 or 3 others, APs and principals there. So I got to talk to them. We talked about book stuff, but we also talked about issues we were having at our school because, of course, when I became an administrator, I thought I need to join the conference. I need to join their association. Tassel did so much for me. I need to do that as well. And it's $500 to join an admin association, and it is over $1,200 to attend a conference there. So, no, not happening out of my pocket. So this still gives me opportunity to connect with people, connect with the few leaders that are there, and so forth. I still a member of ASL. I'm on the Best Digital Tools app for them, which I feel like anybody can find that app cool. So I found apps that I got to send to my teachers last night while I was on that committee. So that's another perk of it too, is I still get to connect with people because I miss networking and talking to people and getting ideas.
I am so glad we haven't lost you. In my years as an educator, of course, I have had some friends who've made that decision to go the route of administration, never saw them again. I mean, it was like once they became administrators, they dispersed into the wind, like they left the district for this job or this job. And it was like, we had nothing in common to talk about at that point. And it was, they sort of just moved on and did their own thing. But it sounds like Tassel is lucky to have somebody who still wants very much to stay connected and build upon that network of school librarians. What a lucky librarian. You had a chance to hire the current librarian you have. I will be honest, in my years of being a school librarian, and I'm on year 18, there is not a year that goes by that I, for once, take my job for granted. I was taught when I got my master's in library science to always assume somebody is looking to cut your job. And because of that, I will always work at, 150% to try and make sure that people are reminded that what I do is important. And maybe, I don't know if that's so much because of this, I live in the state of Michigan, but I have always had this sort of little dark cloud reminding me. I have to think that your librarian that you hired this past year is awfully fortunate to know that the person who hired them, the administrator who hired them, themselves was a school librarian. And they probably should feel good about the fact that, maybe they don't have to worry so much about losing their job.
Yeah, yeah, I'll always fight for the position and make sure that my principal agrees. She sees the value in it. We're lucky that my district, we are a small district, so of course our librarians do have to travel. They usually have 2 schools apiece. It's not ideal, but it's not the worst situation because our district still provides budgets. Our district has a librarian teacher leader that represents them at the table. It's a great place to work. So when she got to come in, I told her first thing. What's funny is that she listened to a podcast that we did in her library class with Lindsay Kimry. So she knows this podcast because of that, and she knew me already because of that podcast. So I told her, I said, listen, I don't want you to feel intimidated by me. This is your library. You do what you want. I'm here to support you. You're fresh out of library school. I know in library school they can't teach you everything, but I'm here to help you. So if you need help processing books or learning how to order books or all the different things that we do, I'm here. And she is phenomenal. She wants to learn. She wants to be really good. So we were really lucky to get her. She doesn't care to come ask. She knows that I'm not going to intrude. If she wants me, she'll call me or email me or call my office or whatever, and I'll come down and help her. But it reminded me too, like she didn't know how to use Mylar to cover a book jacket. I had to show her that. Spine labels, learning how to print the spine labels, make sure that was good, and downloading MARC records and uploading MARC records, and just giving her tips like she'll say, how do you organize this or how would you do that? Just different stuff like that. Book fair. She had never done book fair. So I had to help her set up book fair and show it. Like it's been a really good thing. And it makes me realize that it is a good thing that I was a school librarian, and I don't care to go help other librarians either. My director of schools texted me over break and said, we've hired a temporary person for a couple of schools. Do you care to go help them and show them? And I was like, sure, I don't care. So it makes me feel good that they see the value in that. I don't want them to ever think that I'm a librarian and like to see me just as a librarian. I am an administrator. I have lots of other things that I'm doing, but this is on my own time that I can do the other things. I don't take my work day to do all of these different things. So I do think that she's okay with that. We were lucky that she got to come into a freshly remodeled library. We spent $30,000 last year in our library. Well, that's a fib. So a company partnered with me, and I got $20,000 worth of new furniture. Then our PIA bought all new flooring, and then we got another grant to addition to our library budget that permitted us to really do heavy weed. So she came into a pretty good space, fresh paint, fresh murals. So it's a really great space.
Oh my gosh. This would be such a game changer if you were my boss. I swear to God. But I just
Come on down, come to Claiborne County, Tennessee, and we'll hook you up with a library job.
Well, listen, I got to tell you, the school districts in Metro Detroit are collapsing. I'm not going to lie. Right now, the fact that our automotive industry is sort of put on pause, and it doesn't help that we're angering our nearest, closest neighbors and the Canadians. And so right now, Metro Detroit is not a great place to go looking for a job in the first place. So that really is nice of you to say. I'm just going to say it right now. If I had a nickel for every single interview I did with a school librarian who included in that conversation their relationship that they have or non-relationship that they have with their administration, Is it antagonistic? Is it a non-relationship? Do you simply, I've heard librarians talk about trying to sort of, coast under the radar. Like I'm going to stay off my administrator's radar. If they can do that, it's seen as a victory. And I was like, that's so sad. Like if your strategy for success is making sure nobody notices you, and then other people are like, no, I need to broadcast what I do, and I need to showcase what I do. We have to have a strategy for educating our administrators who have antiquated ideas of what we do. And then somebody's got you for an administrator. What a dream.
I don't like we talked about in the podcast we recorded a few years ago. I'll say most administrators are not out to get librarians. They just don't understand, and that's your job to advocate for yourself. They get classroom teachers, but and most of them were probably classroom teachers, I hope. So they understand that. So it's just like a school counselor. They might not understand what a school counselor does. So it's your job to advocate and really show what you do. I did that with my principal at the last school I was at. I absolutely loved her. And I got to really build the program and really show her the things. I got to partner with her. We got on the same page. As soon as I was hired at that school, I wanted to know her goals, what she wanted to see. I shared some of my goals, and it went from there. Don't go in bogging them down with an hour of things. Say, "Can I have 15 minutes to talk to you about some common goals that we have for the library, what you see, what you wanna see?" And that's what the librarian did when she came in too. She talked to my principal, and I said, my principal and I told her, "The number one thing is book joy. We want our children, our students, to love reading." So spread that book joy, do book talks, do book displays, do all the things. And then the next thing is we want you collaborating with teachers because you are a resource for your teachers. You can help take loads off them by doing research skills and collaborating with them on projects that they're doing in their class, so they don't have to take class time to do it. They can come to the library and do it. Pulling resources, curating lists for them. So that's what we did when we set up our meeting and when we first came and talked. And I would suggest that for all librarians. Don't be afraid of your administrators. Ask for 15 minutes, talk to them, find some common goals, and maybe once a month send them some stat sheets that they might can read over real quick because administrators love numbers. They love to see what's going on. So do that. Show your CERC. Show how many teachers you've helped. Show the program you've done. And that can really help advocate for yourself. This month's School Library Month, go to the board meeting, pass out some stat sheets and a little goodie bag to your school board members. All those things are really, really important to show administrators that you are important, that you are relevant, that we are needed, that we're not something that is we're not a luxury. We're something that's required. That we're not a supplemental position. Like we need. They are needed. School librarians are needed.
I want to go back to this idea. You were mentioning that your librarian came into a newly renovated space and you had a lot to do with making sure that a lot of the important things were able to happen before the school year started. But I want to ask you, because you mentioned weeding. I can't tell you how many times I have talked to a school librarian, and I am in this category, who has had to hide the fact that this is even a thing that has to happen. Now, please tell me, what am I doing wrong? Because librarians, it is the thing that we do not discuss. Some librarians have there are policies. And you mentioned weeding, like, okay, I've been a librarian now for 18 years. I've never had an open conversation about any weeding that I've ever done with any administrator I've ever had. And it's sort of just the thing that shall not be said out loud. What would you recommend as an administrator when it comes to trying to, I will be quite honest, I don't even want to open that can of worms. I don't even want to broach the topic. I'm sort of almost feel like I could have a response that would be acceptable, but it's not like I'm going to schedule a meeting to talk about why weeding is important.
So I would bring that up at the beginning of the year when it comes to it's part of your job. You're trained to do that. Talk to them about it, explain why that you're doing it, have the data to back it up, have the numbers to back it up. When I went to my last school, where I was talking about the principal, one of the things was we wanted to clean up the collection. The collection had been cataloged all incorrectly. It had all capital letters in the mark records, all that. You have to remember there's about 15,000 books in this library. So I went shelf by shelf and deleted every copy and recatalogued it and weeded as we went. Well, by the time I was getting done, there were stacks and stacks and stacks of books. And my principal came back and I was like, don't freak out. Don't freak out. So they don't understand, they don't know, so you just have to go and have that conversation with them, telling them you can't have outdated nonfiction. It might tell a student something wrong. You don't just like a globe, you don't know how many globes I've thrown away that have the Soviet Union on them. So you have to, just talk to them about that, and then pull up the circulation stats and say, students don't wanna go to a packed shelf. Students don't wanna read books that are falling apart. Students don't wanna read books that are outdated covers and don't really represent who they are in this time. So just explain that to them, and hopefully that'll help them understand what's going on. Because again, most administrators did not go to library school. They don't know that. So if you give them the background and the reasoning, most administrators will be like, "Oh, okay," and they'll go on. I did the same thing at my wife's school when I was still a librarian. They were in transition from new librarian. I went up and we did that collection, and she came in and she was like, this, and we talked about it, and she was okay too. So every principal I've ever dealt with has been okay with it once I just sit and talk to them and tell them why and give them all the reasons.
I'm just sorry I've never worked for somebody as cool as you are. I'm just I'm just
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. My wife says I'm a nerd.
listen, embrace it. Embrace it. It is a strategy to your success.
I want to. I do. I don't care.
You have been president of Tassel. Yep, you've been president of your state organization. You're a leader, and here you are in the next chapter of your life. And I think the wonderful thing is when you realize, as school librarians, you are already supporting the entire school. So in that respect, this isn't that big a transition at all.
It's not, and that's why I say that school librarians make the perfect leaders, because you're already supporting the whole school. You're already supporting school-wide behavior. You're already working with all the teachers and the students. You're in a leadership role because you're leading an area of the school, and hopefully you're doing leadership things by talking to your faculty and staff about how you can be utilized. That's another topic that I love to present on, is utilizing school librarians. And I used to say using, but they said that sounded weird, so I should say utilizing. So I started to change it to utilizing. But librarians are natural leaders. They're the perfect leader, because also you have classroom experience because you're teaching classes. You know your state standards. You know what the teachers are supposed to be working on. So it's the perfect thing.
Well, and that's sort of where I was going with this next question, because you spent years as a school librarian and then transitioning into being a school administrator. It seems to have been a very natural fit for you.
Yeah, I think it's been awesome, and all the things I would talk about, and I talked about in my interview, and my principal and I do, it was things that I even did as a librarian. I would leave notes for teachers, and I would talk about things that we were doing in the library. And as a principal now, I go through every morning, and every Monday morning, I go through and check on every class and ask if they need anything. I leave notes when I'm in and out of classrooms. We're providing treats and snacks. I did that as a school librarian. So all these things are things that I did there that I'm just getting to do as an administrator now.
Spring is here, sort of.
Yes, it is.
Friends, I think there isn't any part of the states that hasn't been affected by this sort of weather whiplash.
Yes.
But this has also been the case where you are in Tennessee?
Yes, we've had torrential rains. Last week was spring break, and we were all in the 80s. This week, I had to turn the heat back on because we're going to be in the 30s tonight. My son's camera in his room kept notifying my wife that the temperature and humidity was too bad in the room, so we had to turn the heat back on. So yeah, it's been a way. Spring is in the air, definitely, with as related to weather and student behavior.
Oh, oh yes. Yes, the student behavior does become a little unhinged once we get into this final stretch.
It's just they make silly decisions. We have to they just make silly decisions. But we're there to guide them and correct them and tell them why that was a silly decision.
So, I am curious because how many more weeks do you have of school? Because I appreciate that you probably are ending school in May. Is that correct?
Yes, and this is a weird year for us too, because normally we start August 1st and we're out the Friday before Memorial Day. And the way elections and all the different things fell, we are going to have to go after Memorial Day. So we have about, my wife counted, we have 33 days of school left. So we have roughly less than 7 weeks, I guess, at this point. But I mean, who's counting, right?
Everybody's counting. No, I appreciate that the shenanigans is also sort of gets revved up, and the the student behavior starts to get a little sort of off the rails. So I appreciate that for you as an administrator, the end of the school year is going to look radically different than it did as a school librarian at the end of the year. I guess I'm sort of wondering, do you have your calendar as an administrator will extend after the students leave?
So no, not in my district. Administrators, assistant principals, because I'm an assistant principal, we are on 10-month contract, just like a teacher, just like a school librarian. We're all 10-month contracts. Principals are 12-month contracts. So we get off just like classroom teachers. We get to follow that schedule. We get a stipend on our base salaries, so that's what. And then we do get to follow that. We don't have to be 10, 11, or 12-month contracts. So that does work out really good. It's a nice, smooth transition if I move on up into principalship. I'm completely happy where I'm at right now, but in the future, if I become a principal, then it's been a nice, easy step up from that. But of course, just as a teacher or school librarian, I'm still going again in the summer. I'm still doing different things because it's just who we are. I'm not saying I don't support like working on contract time or whatever, but sometimes you just need to go in. Sometimes it just happens. So
What do you miss about being a school librarian?
I guess like when I was in the classroom, I loved having my space, and then when I was in the library, it was my space. And I'm getting to see those kids every single day. Now the whole school is my space, I guess, and I'm in charge along with my principal of making sure all the school is taken care of. Where before I was just had one single room to take care of. So I do miss that and miss the seeing the kids every day, but as a principal, my principal and I don't know how I've shared that or not, but my principal and I feel like we're a phenomenal team. I mean, it's just a great, great teamship, I guess. We have lots of the same ideas and same thoughts and philosophies, so that's really made this a better process too, is because she's just wonderful. And I said my principal at TNT, she was wonderful. She really saved me and really helped me be a better educator. And then I'm getting to work with her mentee, because Melissa Brock, she was mentored under Suzanne. So it's just kind of like, and then I got to work with her. So it's just great. But like I was saying, that really, really helps. That really helps make it better process.
I'm really curious because, obviously when school librarians need to find sources of support, we've learned how to build out our network through our state organizations, and school librarians we've connected and networked with throughout the years and through podcast listening. So now that you are administrator, do you have podcasts that you listen to be a better administrator?
Oh, of course. So I got to be on one last year. It was Teach-Lead-Innovate Captivate with Dave Walker, and then I've listened to the Modern Principal. There are two principals somewhere, I don't remember where, but they're really good. And then Dave's podcast is really good too. Those are the two main ones that I listen to. When I was in the library or a school librarian, I listened, of course, this one, and then I listened to the Future Ready one, and those were the two main ones I listened to too, because I get too overwhelmed listening to too many. So once I find a couple, that's kind of what I stick with. And so the same things happen with them. I kind of stick with those two podcasts, and it's a good quick way to have PD and find some new ideas. I'll jot down ideas after I've listened to them and things like that. So, and like I said at the beginning, administrative PD is not cheap. So that's a quick free way to get some PD.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, let me ask you, this has obviously been a really good transition for you, but I'm sure that there were a few surprises, some unexpected experiences. Can you share with us something that in your early stages of your career as a school administrator, has anything really caught you off guard or surprised you?
I think that as school librarians and classroom teachers, even, we have lots of tabs open, but as an administrator, you have lots of tabs open. This morning, my principal was saying, I have too many tabs open. I can't concentrate. I can't figure out. And you're solving lots of different problems. Like, I knew it, I expected it, but it really was shocking when I really got into it and had felt that happening. Because you're walking down the hallway on your phone, you're having your walkie-talkie, you've got all these different people you're communicating with and people that are coming to. So that's been one of the more surprising things about that.
You've made this transition and it sounds like it's really working for you. If there's somebody tuning in right now who's really sort of on the fence about pursuing this next sort of chapter of their life and becoming an administrator for a K 12 school, what do you feel really solidified this decision for you when you decided to become an administrator?
I thought about it, and I feel like as librarians, we're natural leaders anyways. And I think that you just have to go for it and try. Don't let other people say that you can't because you have enough experience in this, enough experience in that. You'll never have enough experience in anything because you're going to learn day by day on how to deal with things. I've even learned too how to deal with student behavior better. When I went to my other school, it really taught me some different things about that. And then coming into administration, it's kinda like an onion, you have to pull everything back, so it's just different experiences will help, take the, plunge, try it. If you don't like it, you can always go back. I'm in different administration groups on Facebook, just like there's librarian groups, there's principal groups, and there's people say all the time, "I've decided to go back to the classroom." There's no shame in it. I mean, you're not any less because teachers and school librarians and counselors and everything, they're just as important. So I say take a chance and try it and see what happens.
Blake Hopper, I love following you on social media, and you do a fantastic job of making whatever it is you do look amazingly fun and important. And I'm sure your students have a giggle watching you posting some of the things that you do, some of your shenanigans.
Yes.
Would you let listeners know how we can follow you on social media?
Yeah, I'm at the Lit Principal now. I used to be the traveling librarian, and I upgraded to the Lit Principal. I guess lit can mean many things. It means you're cool. It means literacy. It does not mean that I have taken too many drinks of something or another. So it is the Lit Principal. Today, one of my kids said, "I found you on TikTok," and I was like, "You did?" And they were like, "Yeah, I saw you and Miss Brock in those TikToks." I was like, "Well, good." So I just think that that's just another way to. I don't follow them, of course. They can follow me, but I'm not going to follow them back. But it's just another way to connect with kids and just have fun. To make this job fun. We're under a lot of stress. Everyone's under a lot of stress. So, as an administrator, as an assistant principal, I want to try to take as much stress off of my faculty and staff that I can, and it makes their job easier and makes them enjoy and feel appreciated.
Fantastic. So, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram as well?
Oh, yes,
Yes.
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I'm on Twitter, but it's really too much for me, so I'm there, but I don't really participate.
Are you on Blue Sky?
I'm not, but I need to. I've seen that. I need to get on that.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like you have enough on your to-do list. I'm not going to add to it tonight. Blake Hopper, thank you so much. I appreciate your friendship. I have always enjoyed connecting with you, and I am so excited to see all the success that you have been enjoying in this next chapter of your professional growth. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great next 7 weeks of school.
You too. Thanks for having me on. I always enjoy it.
Friends, if you found this episode helpful, please share it out with your team, your PLN, and on social media. Be sure to follow on your favorite podcatcher so you'll never miss an episode. And if you really like listening today, consider leaving a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Reviews help others find us. For those of us living in the Northern Hemisphere, it is springtime, and springtime means job postings for the next school year, and those become available starting now. If you are contemplating applying for a new job this spring, then consider taking a look at the playlists linked in the show notes of every episode. Here you'll find helpful playlists to episodes arranged thematically. We have playlists on getting a job, grade-specific playlists for high school, middle school, and elementary for anyone interested in switching grade levels and would like to sound confident in answering those interview questions. There are playlists which can help you answer common interview questions like how would you build reading culture, what kinds of programming would you like to have in your space, and putting students first. There are also 6 episodes in the end of year playlist, which addresses issues which only ever come up as the school year comes to a close. And if it has been a long year and you are feeling especially tired and checked out, then you don't want to miss the Overcoming Obstacles because, friend, you aren't alone. Next week, I'll be celebrating the graduation of our youngest from college. Our family will be getting together for the first time since Thanksgiving. And while there won't be a new episode on Friday, April 25th, there are 316 past episodes which you can visit on demand. Take advantage of the 27 different playlists linked in the show notes, and you can be sure our upcoming episode on May 2nd will showcase amazing school librarians sharing their strategies and resources. I hope you will tune in.